All right. Good evening, everyone.
Hey everybody. How's everybody doing on this in this living in this very bizarre world
Well,
these
I'm
days?
I'm doing fine. You know, I I,
It,
I bought more frozen food than I normally buy, but
yeah, I guess in a lot of ways it doesn't seem like anything would be out of the ordinary for you.
yeah. I mean, not
But
not
things are
too
pretty
out of the
chaotic here.
not too out of the ordinary just yet, but it is weird. I mean, I ultimately it's probably going to be good for me because I probably eat out way more often than I should. So, maybe break some habits, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the same way. My kids are home from school for at least until the 27th, but there's no way that
Mm-mm.
it's going to be like there's no way these kids are going back to school in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
And my wife is
sure.
working from home,
Yeah. I
and I
mean,
think it's interesting because we've worked out like we have this idea of like parsing out our day. We're gonna work and we're gonna like take I'll take an hour for lunch together and do all this other stuff. So hopefully it's going to end up being productive. But I mean, I feel like it's good because it's going to keep me on task a lot better.
yeah. Yeah. I haven't felt very on task just yet, but I think I'll get into a groove.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've struggled as well. I mean, that's why it took so long to get that mini out this week. But I mean, a lot of that was because the kids were suddenly home every day with me, and it's just like it's hard when everything was weird in the way that it was. It took me I couldn't get any solid time working on stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but now I think we're gonna be a lot better.
Okay. Well, I don't know why, but for some reason, this morning it popped in my head like, I've been in the mood all year to stream a Donkey Kong Country game. And I thought, you know what? I have the three GBA ports, but I've never really played through them. And by the way, I am hearing myself echoing all of a sudden.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
But
turn
I've
it down a
never
little bit.
really played through them. And the third one is interesting because it has a completely redone soundtrack uh, by David Wise. David Wise had very little to no involvement, if I'm not mistaken, with the original version soundtrack, which is, by the way, a great soundtrack as well. I maybe don't like it overall as much as like Donkey Kong Country 2's soundtrack, but it is a great soundtrack that I love. And I love the third game too. I mean, they're all three games are really, really great. I do consider two the best, but
Mm.
I like them all. They're just it's just a very consistent trilogy overall, and they're great. So apparently, as far as I know, the story goes that the particular sounds used in the styling of the original DKC soundtrack on Super Nintendo, just David Wise poured that to GBA and was just like, wow, this sounds like garbage. just that style of music did not translate well to the GBA sound hardware.
Right.
If it even has sound hardware, isn't it all like isn't it like a software based
I think so. Yeah. It
like
doesn't
software? It's
have a
all like
specific sound chip
software
at all.
based sound engines on GBA, I think,
Yeah,
as
and that's
far as
probably
I
maybe that's the reason
understand.
it's so noisy.
Yeah. But yeah, so apparently it just did not sound good, and he was just like, "Well, I guess I'm just going to do this," and he just made a new soundtrack. So it'll be interesting to hear how that is different.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't remember any of the music from Donkey Kong Country 3 anyways. I feel like do you think it's the worst or the least memorable of all three soundtracks?
Um, no, I mean I would say all are pretty memorable. I mean I like the original soundtrack a whole lot. But it's just interesting that this one has a different one, you know?
Yeah.
So I decided to use the 16:9 frame for this one. It just seemed to fit that a little better than the CRT. I am playing on the GBA Consolizer, and I decided I'm going to use the Switch NES Joy-Con with the retro receiver, which I think will be fine.
It doesn't need shoulder buttons.
I looked it up. Apparently, this version, it doesn't seem like it uses shoulder buttons a ton. It sounds like the functions that are on shoulder buttons will be something that I'll feel comfortable enough using with the tiny little ones that we've got here. Oh yeah. Unmute it so I can actually hear this. But yeah, I mean, GBA has maybe the worst sound of like any system I can think of. This is a used copy, so someone, JAC, played 13 and a half hours and only got 60%.
Maybe they left it on overnight or something.
I don't know. That's hard to do on a GBA. From what I've seen, the world map I think is like totally rebuilt.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Do you think it looks better? I don't know.
I don't remember very much about it.
Whoa, this is different. This is totally different. She's like at a shrine now. She like you like visited like her at her house, and she was like doing aerobics, playing N64. Sometimes she was asleep in her chair.
Now she's in a shrine.
Like, I guess it's the banana bird shrine. But like, you just like send the banana birds to live with her at home.
Oh yeah, $2 donation.
Oh, so you don't have to save at Wrinkly's anymore.
Yeah, $2 donation from Morgan Tube HD. Thank you. He says, "Do you guys watch PewDiePie or watch dank memes?" No, we don't. I think I can speak for trying that.
Yeah.
Would it be really funny if you were like secretly dank memes was whatever that is was your favorite YouTube show? It's like, yeah, like it's the only one that I really watch.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
keep my interest.
I mean, sorry
Love
for
those
anyone
dank memes.
who does watch that, but I watch very little YouTube stuff in general. This
Thank you.
this
Anyways.
this brother bear looks totally different as well.
It's really cleaning that counter. Gaming Guy 800 wants to know why you hate Tropical Freeze, but you didn't hate that one.
I mean,
Wait, before you go ahead.
I mean, I was I was, you know, by that point I knew to not expect like for it to play a certain way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I did not hate it. I appreciate it for what it was. Well, kind of appreciated it for what it was. But, I mean, it's... The thing that throws me with those games more than anything is just like the mechanics are so different. And it it feels very difficult to actually land... It feels difficult to actually land like where you feel you should, to me. Like I feel like when you do a rolling jump in those games, like it feels like you're shot out of a slingshot. Like it's just not. I don't like the mechanics in those games. I'm sorry. A lot of people are like, oh, they're masterpieces. And I'm sure they are, like, if you aren't obsessed with the original trilogy.
I mean, I'm trying to say something. The big thing for me was like it got rid of the motion controls. The motion controls in
They
the
were
first
really
Donkey Kong
bad.
Country Returns were so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an opposition to motion controls, but like that was bad, and also like it had this mechanic where like you would like blow on a flower and stuff like that, and it just really killed like the pace of the game.
Yeah.
And a lot of like the set piece levels I thought were maybe a little overly chaotic in both games, but they are not what I was looking for in a Donkey Kong Country sequel. I am sorry to say.
We had a $2 donation a few minutes ago from Jonathan Hinson.
Thank you.
It says, thanks for bringing some normalcy and some levity to an otherwise crazy and surreal week. I mean, it's definitely been pretty surreal, I think, and I think it's going to get a lot weirder in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really, really interesting because, a lot of people are saying that, like, time period and the amount of people that have been exposed, that it's very possible we're about 7 days away from what's been happening in Italy.
Which is pretty bonkers.
Yes. So, I mean, I think this time next week, I mean, who knows? Who knows what it'll be like?
I'm pretty sure we'll have a stream, though. Pretty
Hopefully.
sure.
I've had no problem self-isolating. It's even though, I think my kids are gonna have a really hard time. But we've been building a fort for them out back. It has a swing set and all this other stuff on it. Like,
I don't know why I'm looking for
bought
bonus
that
rooms.
for the kids. Like when we bought the house, and it showed up on Monday. So I mean, it's like taking a long time to build. And I think that once it's like, my wife was like, we got to build this week because I think it's going to save us. And we had two $2 donations from Ben Brody. The first, many $2 donations from Ben Brody.
What?
The first one said, so they're finally here performing for you. I don't know it. I assume
if you know the words, you can join in too.
Yes.
Put your hands together if you want to clap as we take you through this monkey rap. DK.
Yep.
Donkey Kong. DK. Donkey Kong is here.
DK.
He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. He's finally back to kick some tail. His coconut gun can fire in spurts. If he shoots ya, it's gonna hurt. He's bigger, faster, and stronger too. He's the first member of the DK crew. DK, Donkey Kong. DK.
That's the William Shatner version.
Donkey Kong is here. I only know Donkey Kong's verse.
We also had a $2 donation. Thank you from Warren Hokie. Says thanks for a GBA stream. Love the mini. Keep it up. I'm glad that people generally liked it. I think we learned a valuable lesson with this one though, in that we should just stick to covering like one device or it's like one subject per mini, because it was very difficult to edit them. If you saw the timeline, you'd be like, what? Because we were so all over the place, and it was hard to introduce both things and then cover the RetroTink a bit, then cover the Coury, and then kind of use that and be able to slide back into the RetroTink for a little bit and then talk about both of them. It did not flow at all like that. I mean, the entire recording was over an hour, which, I mean, they usually are, but it was still surprised that it came out the way it did. But I think that from now on, we're going to, we let it get away from us this time, I think. And I think that it's just more important to do a mini that is going to, you know, that
Oh,
doesn't
this
just,
is a new mini game, by the way.
it's just that is more manageable.
There's a lot more changed in this than I expected. I wonder if it's at all, like, for some reason I've assumed that there's less change in the other two versions, but you know, I'd be interested to play those sometime as well.
Oh, we got a see it there. Oh, there it is. We got a $10 donation from Saving the Project. Thank you.
Thank you.
It says, thank you for the minis. This stream is bananas. Or as I call them, beanans. I don't know. It's just like one of those, hey.
One of those dad things.
It's like one of those dad things. But I mean, I think that going forward, we're gonna do. We're gonna try to shoot a mini for the analog DAC this week, so that we can just have it already shot. And I think another thing that made it so hard is we were just like we just been really out of practice.
Yeah.
And that, like, after moving and everything, and working on Analog Frontiers, it was very tough to get it back into the state of mind to have a conversation that edits pretty well.
Yeah.
And I said it last week. I think that doing video logs is when I kind of felt on top of my game, at the top of my game, like in terms of doing mini stuff. And we haven't done one of those since, gosh, like the very beginning of October. And I meant to do it this week, but then everything got thrown into chaos, and there's just no time to do it this week.
Yeah. So the next episode of Analog Frontiers is maybe a little further off than either of us had hoped at this point, but
yeah, but I mean, still, like, I think it'll be out in
April.
Yeah, I think early April.
Early April.
Well, that's 2 weeks. Maybe.
I don't think it's gonna be early April.
But it's going to be in the month of April.
Yeah, I think that's a relatively safe bet.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that I'd like to get into a place where we're doing minis more often, and I think that, especially stuff that won't take as much editing as this one, we'd be able to crank them out a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to, like normal episodes, they just be going in between. But we're gonna do the analog DAC because this is not a gigantic subject, and I think we were kind of having a conversation. Or Joe Redifer mentioned to me, he said, I'm not sure if you should call them minis because, I mean, they're 22 minutes long, and I think that I'm not sure if that'll make people skip over them because they are called minis. I mean, he said this could be justified as a full episode, but I mean, it's not really what we consider a full episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone would not watch it just because it was
If we're gonna call them
short.
something else, I don't know what to call them.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, the only reason they're called minis is because we, like a year before, or maybe even 2 years before, we kind of had an idea to do MLiG minis that were like just like a 6-minute video, but it was still scripted. And we did like 1 or 2 of them. Like we did the Waka and
The 240p 3DO.
Yeah, and was the PC Engine mod, was that I couldn't remember.
That was the last one.
That was me. Yeah, but then like we kind of hadn't been doing that, and then we were like, hey, let's do, let's just, I mean, no shame in admitting it, let's do a DF Retro style video for the Genesis Mini.
Yeah.
And
because it was easier for us to put something like that together.
right, and we had
really
done
the embargo lifted.
We had done some DF DF directs with John, so that was like, hey, that actually went pretty well. Like, why don't we try that ourselves for topics that we just like the Genesis Mini, we just can't justify all that time right now.
Right.
So that was the idea, and we definitely got out of practice. But anyway, the reason they were called minis is because like that concept, along with actually, making that episode to hit an embargo date. That we didn't want our video to be later than everyone else's. We're like, well, we've already got an intro for MLiG Mini. We're not doing anything with that right now. Why don't we just call it an MLiG Mini? We've got the intro, we've got the name. It's a catchy name. That's the only real reason they're called MLiG Minis is convenience at that time. And I like the name, although I will admit it doesn't necessarily describe the video, but I do think they need to be branded as something different, just so people like understand what they're getting into, and they don't just think like, oh, is this like what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, if we come up with like a better name, I mean, maybe it just like would take a little bit of time for us to really think about it. We might switch it over to that. There was another $2 donation earlier from Ben Brody that I had missed. Thank you. He says, top 3 favorite GBA games. No Space Harrier allowed. Look at my list. I know the Gunstar Superheroes would be one of them.
The first WarioWare is definitely one of them. I probably overuse it whenever I'm like doing anything in a video relating to GBA, but that might be my favorite GBA game. I don't know why, I just really like that game.
Take a look at my list here, because I'm not sure if I have several Game Boy Advance games, but I've never really thought about, this is my favorite. I mean, honestly, I spent more time playing Super Mario World Advance than most games on the system.
Probably
it was one of the games that made me re-fall in love with it.
I mean, probably my other two favorite. I mean, if I'm just going totally off the top of my head, my other 2 favorite games would probably be Fire Emblem 7 and Advance Wars 2. Like, if I was just going totally off the top of my head. Those games don't make interesting gameplay footage, though, so I don't use those in videos as often.
I definitely put Metroid Zero Mission on there. And
that's also very good.
Probably Castlevania Aria Sorrow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Castlevania games are
I really
great.
like Nightmare in Dreamland also, because when I played that, I didn't actually even hadn't even played the original.
I do think it's a pretty good version, honestly. Amazing Mirror is terrible, though.
What is that?
Amazing Mirror. Terrible. Golden Sun, I liked Golden Sun at the time. I did not like Golden Sun 2 until kind of the second half of it. And then, like, Golden Sun 3 kind of made me question whether I would still like the first 2 Golden Suns again if I were to revisit them.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy them at the time.
We had a $2 donation from Coury saying, y'all are awesome. Love your videos. Keep it up, dudes. Thank you. We'll do our best. We also had a $2 donation from Aaron Welch, who says, would love it if you guys could post on Float Plane. I am unfamiliar with what Float Plane is.
I've heard the name, but I don't really know anything about it. Whoa.
I finally uploaded
whoa. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We've got some Sonic 2 action going on here. Whoa.
So this week I recently, I mounted my rear speakers from the ceiling. I was gonna wait and get in ceiling speakers, but there's no way I could afford it right now, so I decided just to wait. And I ordered 2 cheapish like surveillance camera ceiling mounts for drop ceilings, because I read somewhere that they will work and they will screw into the back of rear speakers and they work amazing. So I ran the speaker wires like along the top of the drop ceiling, and it's weird, but I really got into the 5-channel or the multi-channel stereo for like older games. I never really tried it before, but just in this space, it sounded really good. The first game I tried with it was Castlevania 4, because you had just mentioned about the Castlevania 4 soundtrack. So I was like, I want to see how that sounds, and it was awesome. I've been really getting into it. But last night, I set up the analog DAC, and I was playing Sonic CD using the Mega SD through it, and I had the multi-channel stereo set up, and my kids are like losing their mind over Sonic CD.
Really?
Like we're like dancing to the music, the Japanese version.
Uh-huh.
It was just really funny, like seeing them kind of get into it after a little while.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so Floatplane is a...
Wow, this is a totally different vibe for the tree levels.
It's a video service from Linus Tech Tips. It's like Patreon and YouTube mixed together. Well, I'll look into it. Can you import videos directly from YouTube on there, or do you gotta like upload them all separately?
I mean, I imagine the quality would be better if you did a separate upload.
Yeah.
This style of level has like kind of a really dark and creepy sort of vibe in the original, and it's all like super playful and jaunty here.
Yes, this is the GBA consolizer.
Yep.
But yes, I'll look into it. Might as well.
That didn't last long.
Might as well at least get the name.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of effort in this port. For sure, it's...
Whoa.
Whoa.
We got a $20 donation from Exile.
Thank you.
Jeez,
wow.
Thank you. Says, I'm glad I'm able to catch the stream. At the moment, I'm remodeling my game room with the stream in the background. I'm setting up a Windows 98 and XP station, Windows XP station for original hardware games. Do you guys have any PC games that are nostalgic? You know, it's funny. I have a space on my table here that tried, like, originally kind of talked me into getting my consumer CRT out.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried it tried it last week, and I was like, it's just too big. I was talking to John Lemon about it. I was like, I kind of want to put together like a retro PC and put it there. And he was like, that would be a much better use of the space.
Oh, come on, consumer I think it's worth having a consumer
If I sold my 20-inch, I would say yes, but I can see myself putting a retro PC over here.
Mm-hmm. I've got a space that could work for a retro PC, and I may do it, but like something that I don't know much about is like to like have a quote unquote original hardware retro PC. Like, can you do that with a modern CPU, or like do you only need like a retro GPU and sound card? Like how?
Yeah, I think the idea is to like just use all hardware that's basically top of the line for, you know, the period time period.
Yeah, I don't know much about how it would come together, but I've definitely got, you know, the right monitors for it. I mean, I've got nice monitors.
And that's what Tech Assistant is saying is
Mhm.
good Pentium 4 system use Windows XP. I mean, that's something I want to look into. I didn't
I've
even
got
know.
computers that might already work for it, but I just haven't really investigated
Yeah.
what they are. So
Yeah, I mean,
when
that's
when
something
I
I
have
want to
time, I'll look a little bit more into it. But I potentially could already be a good part of the way there.
Yeah. But I mean, like you could do like Windows 98 probably is what would be probably the most appropriate. But I mean, there's not a lot on the PC that like makes me all that nostalgic. One PC game that I don't think ever got ported anywhere else that I would like to revisit is this game called Shogo. Yeah, it's like Shogo. It's like a first-person shooter with like mech levels that switch to third person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I saw on Twitter somebody posted 2 big box PC games that they had recently got from like a Goodwill or something like that, and they were for Red Baron. And Red Baron is a game that I barely played a lot, but I had a friend who was really, really into it. I mean, I would seeing those boxes posted on Twitter and like seeing the little stickers on the corner. It was like, this is for VGA. This uses this is the VGA version of it. There was definitely something nostalgic about just seeing that. Shogo Mobile Armor Division. Cool art and design in that game. I mean, that never came out anywhere else. Is that like on GOG or anything like that, I wonder? Oh, it is. And Paul Bergkamp's like way ahead of me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess the PC games I'm most nostalgic for are, Mist and Riven, which is maybe kind of a boring answer because it's one of the few like PC games I've really done an episode on before,
Yeah.
But I like those. I mean, early on, like my computers were just like so bad that was about all I could play. You know, of course, obviously this has console versions, but when I did get a good, I got a new PC like just before my senior year in college. Really bought it for video editing and 3D animation, but I really had no particular expectations of playing games on, but once I did get, like, it was right around, it was like not that long after Steam became a thing. It's like as soon as I had it, like my brain immediately went to like, oh, well, I wonder what kind of games might work on it, So I got Half-Life 2, and that was pretty amazing. And then like when Oblivion came out, like I was actually, despite the fact that I ended up not getting an Xbox 360 until after the Xbox One was already out, I actually like was really close to getting an Xbox 360, like kind of close to launch, and I just never ended up doing it. But like I was getting so hyped for Oblivion, and that was like a big part of the reason I wanted to get a 360. Because I'd never played Morrowind, but like I just thought the game looked so amazing, and I did get I did get on PC once I had that good gaming PC. So
yeah, we had another $5 donation from Exile. Thank you. It says, my CRT, a 36-inch Trinitron, was relocated to the garage for the remodel. It wasn't receiving the use for the space it demanded.
Mm.
I'm going to stick with upscaling. I can definitely.
I understand that for sure. My Toshiba has not been getting good use for a number of years, and finally I think my setup is such where I can make pretty good use of it. I mean, you saw it a lot in Analog Frontiers Part 1, so
yeah.
I intend to use it a lot going forward.
The mini episode was a lot of people's first looks at our new sets or our new setups or rooms.
Well, at least yours. I mean, mine had appeared in Analog Frontiers.
True. For like a few seconds.
Well, I mean, other than my intro, though, like there was like a lot of shots that kind of did show good parts of the room.
Right. But I mean, you can, if you look in the background, there's a space like just like in front of the Indiana Jones poster that there's nothing going on there, and that's where I feel like a retro PC could eventually go.
Well, you need to get a proper monitor as well.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, I think it would look really good there.
Because you don't have a PC CRT.
I do not.
I think you should.
It's my voice. Oh, no, it shouldn't be. Everyone's saying I'm harder to hear. If I turn it up a little bit, is that better?
I mean,
I had me turn it down a little bit at the beginning.
I mean, I
turned it up a little bit.
Levels wise, it looked like we were pretty balanced.
It was fine earlier. Let me know if it's too loud now.
You mean something happened? Like I mean, nothing changed with how it sounds to me.
I'm saying it's better now, so. But yeah, it's cool to kind of show the space for the first time.
You sound loud suddenly now for some reason.
Well, I mean, am I too loud now? I shouldn't be.
Well, I mean, it might just be me. Okay,
well, maybe
because it's how I had my headphones adjusted as well. So just do it for however it should sound on
right.
on.
Everyone's saying that our streams are always too quiet, anyways.
Well, Joe disagrees.
Yeah.
I mean, our levels.
We don't output our audio to like at 0 dB.
Yeah. Or we try not to anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some updated setup videos.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, just once it's all in a place where I'm happy with it. I'm pretty darn close, though, at this point, I think.
Yeah, I need to make some adjustments, and I should be pretty set for the long term. I need to buy a few cables. But yeah, pretty close. One thing that I was having an issue with my 20L5 where 480p kind of had this ghosting effect. Mm-hmm. And I finally figured out it was because of the output. Like I guess when you are running through a PVM, I mean, I guess it seems like it's not really a termination point. In other words, it doesn't like end the signal and then like repeat the signal for the output. Like I think it's just a continuous pass through, and as far as I understand anyway. And the problem that was creating was I ultimately had like signals RGB and component, jumping from the 2 monitors, and then we're doing a long run around the room to an Extron where it was going to some other CRTs. Nothing that affected my capture, because my capture was entirely just direct from the G-SCART and G-COM. That was, as few steps as possible to get to the capture. But that was just going to some CRTs. But when I turned on 480p, it was like this ghosting sort of effect. And I finally figured out that it was because that long run to that Extron using cable that I accidentally, well, I don't know if I would say accidentally necessarily. I mean, I wasn't really paying close attention. It was 50 ohm instead of 75, which is a heck of a lot cheaper. And I guess I really underestimated.
It's probably for like video or for
security cameras.
So yeah, security cameras.
Yeah. Whoa. Oh, how did I fall? Yeah. So I wasn't really paying much attention when I bought it, and like for a short run, I could probably get away with it, but like, that is a long run around the room, and it was affecting the input on my PVMs. It didn't look bad for 15 kilohertz stuff. I think it might be my first death. It didn't look bad for 480i or 240p, but 480p, just like there was like this double image, like sort of ghosted to the right. And yeah, so I guess that was why. And so I've decided to, instead of, even if I bought like 75 ohm cabling, which would be a lot more expensive, especially in the quantity and length that I would need, like, I don't think that's really worth it right now. Plus it would continue to risk like degraded quality. So I've kind of decided to isolate my RGB setups from the other side of the room, basically in such a way where, like, if I want to do anything with like RGB or component on the other side of the room, like for mostly that stuff is for like set backgrounds and stuff, really more so than actual use.
Yeah, so it doesn't even really matter.
It doesn't matter that much. So I'll use a lot of like composite component. There will be stuff like retro tink and stuff. And also I will feed composite and S video back to the other side of the room. But I'll be sure that I use high quality cables in terms of what goes to like the Coury U.
Right.
So yeah, but basically I determined that RGB, the main RGB and component stuff should be isolated so I don't lose anything, lose any quality.
It's
Man, it's so many of these backgrounds are so different.
We got Craig Wan in the chat. Oh, Retro Tech is here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining.
I've been here for a while. But I guess I'm just like excited to do the setup tour. But I feel like I need to make sure everything is exactly how I want it to be first. I'm pretty happy though at this point. I haven't got my mini DV player hooked up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that one you got when you got the monitors.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nice. It's a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
Even though I barely have any mini DVs, but you know, the video that was shot at my wedding video is on a mini DV, and I obviously I can just digitize it now, but still, it's nice.
Do you not have a version of that that's easily watchable?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You should definitely do that as soon as possible because I don't necessarily trust mini DV tapes to, you know, last.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can easily do it, but I mean, they certainly last a lot better than VHS tapes.
Do you think so? I mean, I think the format might be more stable, but I doubt that the tapes themselves are significantly more robust. But I mean, I don't actually know, so.
Well, GameSack is saying mini DV tapes seem fine so far. He has that really cool mini DV player that I don't know if you use it that much, but you used to pass through video through it, didn't you? To like be able to record.
Oh,
But now it's mainly for show, I think. It's just like part of that table. I'm not sure if it's even still on the table. Yeah, I used it for game capture. I mean, mine is just like a single one. Like yours was a lot wider than the one I had. But I mean, I think that the one I had was probably expensive at one time. It's a Sony one.
I have a DVC Pro tape deck that I don't really necessarily have a use for, but you never know, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice thing to have. I have some videos that I shot like on a road trip years ago. I can let you know what mine is. Hang on, let me look at the number on it. It's the DSR 20MD. Oh, yours is a 25, so it's 5 better than mine. I saw Joe was on the what is it, Digital Playground episode on the first 5 Genesis games you should play, and his list was excellent. I was very surprised to see you mention Mystic Defender, and I was actually going to tell Try if he didn't choose this tonight, he should play Mystic Defender tonight.
You don't think I should play Spellcaster first?
No, they're totally unrelated.
I mean, they're kind of related.
Right, but I mean, you don't need to play one to know anything, especially like the US versions. Yeah, it's definitely a fun game, but I mean, I knew that the Ghouls and Ghosts was coming. I mean, that's definitely one of my top, probably my favorite Genesis game, honestly. I was playing that last night. You know, I was just like playing a bunch of different stuff with the kids, and they were watching it, and they thought it was hilarious that when you get hit, he's like in his underwear.
I mean, it is funny.
But what they really lost their mind over is McDonald's Treasureland Adventure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they wanted me to keep on playing it.
You know, I've played that on the EverDrive a couple times lately here. You know, just capturing footage. But it really made me want it.
Yeah, it's good. Joshua Helmicky, let me see. Yeah, I don't know if it's working. I mean, let me check the Streamlabs and see what's happening here. Nothing is showing up if people are trying to. Does it go through, or does it just not do anything. Let me check. Logging into Streamlabs.
You mean our notifications aren't popping up or something?
Yeah, I don't think super chats are going through. Period. Yeah, it's still saying that there hasn't been one in 17 minutes.
So have you
Last one was
missed
from Exile?
Have you missed anything?
No. I just logged into the Streamlabs too to make sure there's nothing there. First, it didn't allow me to pay.
Whoa.
there's a $9.99 donation from Sean Quinn just saying test. Well, that works.
That's a very generous test. Thank you.
Daniel Nicholson was saying, funny you say Ghouls and Ghosts is your favorite. Finally finished Super Ghouls and Ghosts on SNES and are finding Ghouls and Ghosts to be really cheap and unfair. Definitely showing us point out roots.
Yeah, well,
I think that Ghouls and Ghosts is a lot better than Super Ghouls.
Well, see that what's interesting is that Drum did not love Ghouls and Ghosts on Genesis that much. Like he's
really like Super.
He's definitely a Super Nintendo one. So I haven't played through the Genesis one myself, but I'll be curious what my reaction is because he did not particularly love that.
I mean, it's clear that one is an arcade game and the other one's more of an adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be really interested to see what my thoughts end up being.
I think that basically everything about Ghouls and Ghosts is better than Super. I hate that you can't.
Man, I am having a
do
hard
up or
time.
down. I think the music's a lot better.
At the end of last Monday's stream, we played a little. Played some Golden Axe after we finished Metal Slug 2.
Yeah.
Oh, he just absolutely hates it.
What?
Like he said he says it is a bad game.
No.
He says it's terrible. He's like, look, I get it. There's a lot of games from my childhood. He's talking to the people in the chat who do like Golden Axe. This is really giving me a hard time for some reason. The bosses in this game are more elaborate than in the other two, but the first one was super easy. But he was talking to people in the chat. He's like, look, I like a lot of bad games from my childhood too, but it is a bad game. The last boss is kind of garbage though. Like the true villain.
The last boss added for that version.
Right, but it is pretty garbage because we couldn't finish it because like he's got the same magic you do. And just like you can throw that at him before he spits. That might help a lot actually. Like he's got the same magic you do and there's nothing you can do about it. There's just nothing you can do about it. Yeah. I like it. I don't think it's a bad game. It's certainly not a very robust brawler or anything, compared to Streets of Rage or whatever. But he hated it. His
came out as
it's very, very early. I mean, I think in the context of its time, it is an okay game. I like the aesthetic of it,
Yeah. We had a $10 donation from Joshua Helmick.
Whoa, thank you.
Got it to go through. Thank you. It says, Mark, you should check out Beyond Skyrim. It's a fan-based redesign of Tamriel, including all regions. Bruma is completely playable as of now with Black Marsh right around the corner.
Is it a mod for Skyrim in particular? Or is it like and out of curiosity, can you play it on Can you play it on like PS4 or I forget if PS4 has like the
supports the mods.
I
don't
think
know.
I think it does, but there was like maybe some limitations. I forget.
It says correct. It is. So I assume that
It's a mod. I wonder if you can play on the. I mean, I've got the PC version. I'm just not
it's
really.
it's a PC. Dr. Droop is saying it. I think it's
PC
a PC
mod
only mod.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I'm just not set up to play it on PC right now, but I could do it without a lot of difficulty. Would be a fun thing to explore for sure.
He is saying that that availability on Xbox One X is coming.
Ah, cool. Well,
Oh, we got a $5 donation from Shinjan PV who says, "Wise from your grave." He's saying, he said earlier, I was gonna respond to it after we talked about Skyrim, but he says that nobody seems to like it anymore. But Altered Beast is one of my favorite Genesis games as well. It's hard to get a Genesis. I had to get a Genesis for that game, and absolutely. I think that Joe and I have talked about Altered Beast, about how, I think that it's very much of a time. It was a big deal when it came out. I mean, and I don't feel that it's bad or it's like aged poorly or anything like that. I mean, I think that it's still really fun to play. I think the only thing that's disappointing about Altered Beast is the last boss.
I mean, from what I've played of the Genesis version, I don't think it's too impressive. I prefer Golden Axe personally, but
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's important to think of it of when it came out and what it looked like.
Oh yeah, I understand.
The look of the first boss alone was. I specifically remember seeing the first boss and seeing a screenshot of the first boss in a magazine, probably like EGM, probably whatever first or second issue, and saying that's like the power of 16-bit.
Yeah, I mean, I totally understand that was like mind blowing at the time.
Yeah,
I respect that.
I mean, it is a great pack-in game for sure. We also had a $5 donation from Colin Barron. Thank you. He says, I just got a new soundbar and want to incorporate my retro systems to it. Do you know of a good analog to digital audio converter? I know how to get.
For just like
to go into his soundbar.
So like, I mean, I guess you aren't like connecting.
Yeah,
like
if you're not
through a switcher or through an AV receiver that would like. I mean, like what? I mean, what are you using to connect your retro systems in the first place? Like, are you connecting them directly to your TV or? Because like that might determine like what the
video would go to my CRT. The audio would go to the soundbar.
Okay.
I'm surprised it doesn't have at least a headphone jack on it.
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Like an auxiliary input.
Yeah, you can. A lot of them do, and you could just like adapt that from dual RCA to stereo 3.5 millimeter.
Okay, so he's saying it does.
Oh, well then, yeah, I wouldn't convert to digital in that case. Because
if you're just sending RCA, just get a like a RCA to 3.5 millimeter.
Because something that's important to remember is audio is always analog. Like when you are listening to audio from your speaker, it's analog. There is no such thing that exists in like a viable form as a digital speaker. Like audio is always converted to analog at some point.
Like playing out as analog. I never really thought about it that way.
Right. So like, I don't know if there might be a digital process somewhere in the soundbar, even if you do input it as analog, but like you're just making an unnecessary conversion there in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, like if it's going, I mean, from what I understand, I mean the digital or analog to digital conversion on the OSSC is very good from what I understand.
Yeah. I mean, but that's definitely like a convenience thing for sure, more than anything.
I was saying, okay, I didn't know audio was always analog. I mean, just on the output,
On the output, it is. Yeah, I mean,
right. But I mean, if you just get like a stereo to 3.5 millimeter, like a little dongle, it's just like two stereo or like a red and a white RCA input with a 3.5 millimeter out. It is. I mean, you won't lose any quality or anything.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that I'm not saying that to say like there's anything wrong with digital audio, because obviously, you know, there's a lot of formats that are possible through digital audio, and it gets it lossless to the to the receiver or to the speaker. So
Right.
it definitely has its place. But if your source is analog to begin with, like there's no reason to like, oh, I got to make this digital. It's going to be better.
We had a $5 donation from Craig Wan. Says, I got a Retrode 2X Pro last week and met Mike Chi at the same week at my local retro game store.
Oh, that's fun.
Any chance of him being in one of your streams? Actually, when we streamed with the Retro Tank a couple weeks ago, we asked him to be on, and he just said he didn't really.
He was feeling a little shy.
He'd rather be in the chat.
Yeah, which is fair, because I do feel like it can be easier to like kind of pay attention to what people say and interact with them, from that kind of context in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but hopefully, I mean, maybe he will make an appearance eventually one day. He's a very funny guy.
Yeah. Yeah, we enjoyed meeting him in November.
Yeah. We got a $5 donation from North Star saying, or asking, have either of you heard anything recently about any of the good Game Boy Color backlight mod kits? Hoping for one that doesn't require any case mods whatsoever.
It's not something I've paid a lot of attention
cool
about.
Coming out, and I feel like I got one of the McWill screens probably last fall. But now there's all these like the IPS screens that are out. I'm kind of sad that I didn't wait it like just a little bit longer.
Are they the right? Are they the right?
Yes, they are like perfect scale. Like the McWill screen is perfect scale. It's slightly smaller.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, seeing a lot of these, like the IPS screens, I'm like, oh, because I just put a one in a Game Boy Advance as well, or like a GBS or not GBS, but like an 101 screen in like a regular first generation Game Boy Advance, and I wish I just waited a little bit longer.
By the way, does anyone know what battery save technology this game uses? Because I wanted to open it up before playing to see if it was a battery or flash or EEPROM or whatever. And I could not find my tri-wing screwdriver. So I didn't open it, but it takes like a couple seconds to save, so I am guessing it's not a battery, not an SRAM battery, because that in my experience tends to be instant.
Yeah, I mean,
whereas the others have to write.
We got a $5 donation from JJ McCullough, who says, I'm just joining now. What's the story with the alternate the alternate soundtrack?
So, as far as I know, the story goes that, the original soundtrack was not by David Wise, and that doesn't particularly have anything to do with why it's got a different soundtrack. But I guess David Wise was, going to convert the soundtrack to the GBA, and just something about the way that it sounded just did not work well with the GBA sound engine. So he just made a new soundtrack, just to compose it differently, a different tone to it. But I really like the original soundtrack. I mean, in the context of this stream, obviously I'm not soaking it in as well as I would if I was just playing it by myself. But I mean, it seems good, but I'm sure I'm going to like the original more. I believe most of the original version was written by Evelyn Fisher. I'm not sure to what extent, if any, David Wise or anyone else was involved.
Cheesemeister had a quote from David Wise. He posted way earlier at the beginning, and I missed it. But he's reposted it now. He says, David Wise says, GBA is a handheld with tiny speakers, no bass or treble. Only 6 weeks to convert. Tried SNES conversion, but would have taken too long to adapt the original score. I created specific instruments that worked on the GBA and composed new score to suit these.
Well, that sounds about right.
So this game does not save on a battery.
Yeah, I was guessing it was not a battery at this point. This Swanky Kong minigame is totally different. Like, there's actually pretty significant changes. I mean, I think this version is worth playing just, for something different.
Warren Hockey was asking if I played Cool Spot 7-Up on Genesis. I have it, actually. Troy gave it to me.
Did I?
Yeah, it's one of the games you gave me a long time ago. I rented it when I was younger, and I rented it because it got really good reviews at the time, and it's definitely not a bad game. I mean, it's
a David Perry game, right?
Yeah, but it's also another one of those games that
I don't like David
I'm
Perry
bothered by it
games.
more now than I was back in the day, because I didn't quite even realize what was going on. But it's it's one of those, like, the Virgin interactive games that when you move left or right, the screen shifts a little bit. Even if you turn left or right, and it doesn't just kind of like stay centered on you. It kind of moves and gets ahead of you.
Yeah.
Aladdin had that problem, and they fixed that in the new version, the versions that the Genesis Aladdin had it, and they fixed it in the new.
And the Digital Eclipse collection, you mean?
Which I recently got. I didn't realize it, but whatchamacallit, Best Buy had a price error, like, in the middle of the night, and I just happened to be awake at the time. And they were selling it for $9.99, so I still have my Gamers Club unlocked, so I got it for like $7.
Wow.
But I thought it was just a deal at the time, but it was, I guess they forgot a 1 in the price.
Which version did you get?
I got the Switch version. They still have Gamers Club unlocked. They got rid of it a long time ago. Mine, actually, I got lucky that I signed up for it basically maybe like 2 months before they canceled it.
Yeah.
So mine ends at the end of this month.
Yeah, I got mine probably less than a year. Mine expired in September. But I pre-ordered like so many games ahead of time to like lock in the price. So like Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy VII, you know, Animal Crossing is coming out this week. Even though I lost my Gamers Club in September, like I'm locked into the lower pre-order.
Yeah, you just pre-ordered everything you can.
Yeah.
You know what else comes out on Tuesday that I didn't even realize it? It's La Mulana 1 and 2 comes out.
Oh, on Switch?
Yeah, Switch and PS4.
Physical?
Yeah.
You know, I I don't know why I did this. I bought the Japanese physical La Mulana 2 like without really even thinking about it. Like I just got so used to English and those versions being and like Switch versions being a thing that I just like I don't know why I just didn't think about it, but I was just like, oh, I'm going to order this physical version, and it doesn't have English in it. That's a cool soundtrack though.
We had a $5 donation from Kitty Ears saying, "Here's $5 so you and Trey can split a roll of toilet paper." What's the best way to play Phantasy Star 1? The game never seems to get redistributed. I mean, the most accessible way to play it at this point is on the Switch. And if you've never played it, I feel like it's like that's basically your best option. I prefer the original because that's just, you know, I have my original cart, and it's just I'm attached to like the, you know, the memories that I had with it.
Yeah, the Switch version does seem to have the most features.
The Switch version and loved it.
The menu, the
map.
The map helps because the dungeons are.
It almost makes the game a lot. It makes the game a lot easier.
Yeah, but like in a good way, I would say, because I mean, if I'm being honest, the dungeon. I played the game for the first time on the Wii Virtual Console, and I tried to make my own maps on graph paper while playing it. You know, I tried to do it legit, and I only made it like about halfway through the game, maybe before I started looking stuff up, because that effect with the bananas behind the waterfall and then the banana goes into the counter doesn't work too well on GBA, I guess. But the dungeons are pretty okay early on, but then like I say, maybe halfway-ish through the game, they start getting really obnoxious because they'll become multi-floor dungeons.
And there's
traps. There's trap floors,
traps, yeah.
and you don't know like
trap to like get to the exit.
Huh?
And sometimes you got to use the traps to like drop down into certain areas. Correct,
and it's kind of a situation of like, you don't know, like, okay, I fell through a trap, and I'm in a multi-floor dungeon, and I don't know if I fell down one floor or 2 floors. You know?
Right. Yeah, I mean it makes the game a lot easier, and
in a good way, I would say.
Back in the day, I mean, we just randomly found our way through most of the dungeons. We didn't really map it. Although, you know,
some
starting
people
with
did,
Resident Evil 2, and like since Resident Evil 2, the remake of Resident Evil 2, I've made it a point. Like I have this kind of like a mini little notebook thing. It's like a nicer notebook. It's like something. It's not like something you just buy at a store that like at a drugstore or something like that, or just like at a dollar store. It's a nicer book, mm-hmm. With blank pages in it, and I've been using that to write down things in games that I don't want to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used it to, you know, like in Resident Evil, in the remake of Resident Evil 2, there's some locker codes you might find like on the wall.
I just took a phone picture of those, but I do like the spirit behind doing it. You know.
Right. Well, I mean, I always think of what Rand Miller says.
Yeah.
My favorite thing that he said in that whole interview in that episode that you did so long ago, where he says once you bring like those kind of things into the world, into the real world, and as soon as that like the game becomes atoms, then you've like made it.
You've made part of the game real. Yes.
So I'm trying to do that more often.
Yeah.
And I think it would be cool to have this little book of just like a few pages based on certain games. When the whole thing fills up, it would be kind of neat to see the evolution. And I always think about the physical hand-drawn maps that Jeremy Parrish was doing for a while there. And he would put all this like kind of artwork around that he would illustrate around it. I think that Fangamer sells like giant poster-sized versions of those now, and it's so cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Really quick, we had a $5 donation from Red Wolfie a couple minutes ago. It says, "Hey guys, just purchased a PVM for the first time, Olympus OEV 203.
That's a good one
for a new user. Is that the one you have?"
Yep. That is a Sony tube. It's
just like rebranded, right?
It's just Olympus built their own version of Sony's thing, and it's the quality and features are identical to the Sony the M2 MDU,
right.
And it's great. In terms of any advice, I mean, have you already got some cables? I still, I even as recently as a few months ago, I bought a PVM SCART to BNC cable from Wookie Win on eBay. He's still doing those. So, if you want to do that to hook up some SCART connections. But using RGB is pretty straightforward on, that kind of PVM.
And I see the Retro Tech is responding to him saying, check out my channel. And I cannot recommend him enough.
Yeah.
You'll see lots of good stuff on there.
I forgot that eating the urchins makes the fish angry. You want him to eat fish. It's interesting, this underwater music has some overtones of the Donkey Kong Country 1 water music.
Oh, that's nice.
The underwater theme in the original version of DKC3 is probably the weakest tune in the game, maybe. But it's atmospheric in an interesting way, but it's super creepy. Ow.
I'm gonna go fill up my water. I'll be right back.
Okay. I don't remember these little clownfish in the background. They're moving along. They don't. I mean, those are the enemy clownfish, but there's background clownfish that I don't think those were there in the original version of these levels. And those small gray fish there too. Eat the clownfish. Nope. Not the monkey. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. It's okay. Whoa. I feel like that water is faster than the original version. Oh, come on. So, I mean, he's changing. He's changing his pattern. I guess that's all there is to it. I don't remember there being anything more to it than squaring his eyes. But he's changing his pattern, but not making it obvious, like, ow, I'm hurt. Whoa.
All right.
Oh, crap! Ah!
Sorry about that. What did I miss?
Nothing really. Just fighting this boss.
I mean, a lot of people I've talked to seem to think that there's going to be no more school for the rest of the year. And I have no idea what that's going to even mean. Like, what happened? What about kids that are like seniors in high school? Like, I know that a lot of places are going to do remote, we'll do remote learning.
I mean, I wonder if there's even like, I mean, they'll have to come up with like some like standard of like, okay, like you have met graduation requirements, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting.
I think this pattern is different than the original. Not that I totally remember, but oh, come on.
We got a $2 donation from For Love of the Game saying, "Try next time you die, say consarnit." I don't know what does that mean?
I think I was just an old person, exclamation.
Oh, it's an old-timey swear. Warren Hokie is wondering if there's any hope for a revival of the Rare after Nintendo's series. I mean, I definitely think so. It's just a matter of getting Analog Frontiers done, and then
I think we'll feel a lot freer to like do, you know, more light and fluffy stuff like that. I guess one thing that kind of scares me with that is, you know, next is the two Viva. I'll do the two Viva Pinata games in one video. I feel like that's just a big time sink, and like,
yeah,
I've played like 4 hours of the first Viva Pinata, on a backloggery stream one time, and you know, it seems okay. Not necessarily my kind of game, though. So it seems like a fine game that isn't necessarily made for me. So I'm not like as excited to do that one, but I am still determined to do it.
So who is it? Michael's Workshop said, Coury, with your head lit up and the blue background, you look like a StarCraft cutscene NPC. I'm like, this is Jimmy.
Well, I mean, you've kind of got like, you know, early 2000s like movie color palette going on there.
I don't know if I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, but I just found myself watching the movie Swordfish. It was on TV one night. Have you ever seen Swordfish?
I'm not familiar with it.
It's got Hugh Jackman. He's this computer hacker. It's Hugh Jackman and John Travolta, and it's a lot worse than I remember it being. It was just on TV. It is so bad. Gaming Blow says, dude, Swordfish is so bad. It is so bad, and then like it gets like ultra stupid at the end. Where he has this big plan to escape the police, and he's like the main bad guy. They just robbed this bank, and they're to escape the police chase. They have this helicopter comes down and picks up the bus, but it's like they didn't even think it through at all, because like they're immediately like almost hitting buildings and all other stuff. I don't even understand. Like they just came up with the idea because it was what's like the most random thing we could do in this movie. But the effects are so bad in it too. They're like Mortal Kombat reptile level of bad.
Drum and I have been watching the Leprechaun series for our March our March movie nights, which they're like all on well, maybe all but one on the Cinemax channel on Netflix. So I bought or not Netflix, Amazon. So I bought a month of that. I was like looking through the other day of what what other movies on there might I want to watch that, you know, while I've got this for a month. I watched Castaway the other day. I'd never seen that before.
Oh man,
What
did you think? You like it?
That was pretty good.
It's good. I mean, it's movies like that though. I hate flying, and it's just movies like that make me more scared. I always think of stuff like that when I'm flying.
It was a pretty intense plane crash scene. I was surprised. Like,
yeah.
Like I don't know if I have ever seen like a plane crash in a movie that was quite that like
scary.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it was, it was pretty detailed and like, yeah, it was pretty horrifying. Like, I definitely had my heart pounding a bit.
Yeah. We had a $5 donation from Joshua Helmke. Thank you. It says another shirt idea from a fellow chat room member was SCART Cannibals SCART Cannibals connected. That'd be a real deep cut, I think. I mean, I think that people might be into that though. It took me like the Conables. Like the way I spelled it in the end was like with a K.
K apostrophe.
Yeah.
Canables.
Corpse 413, $2 donation. Oh, he didn't donate, but he's just like needs to scream Wilson, and like that like, wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be the second time either.
But now I've actually heard it, so like I've kind of got a little bit of a Wilson.
Now that you have like
and now I just need to like lay on my back and like sob forever.
Tom Hanks' best role. I mean, I've always liked Big. I love telling people that when I first moved to New York, I met a friend. I had a friend who had a party, or didn't have a party, but like I went to a party with a friend at one of their friends' house, and it was at the apartment from Big.
That look at all similar.
That he had in Soho. Well, we got a $9.99 donation from Adam Jenkins saying another T-shirt idea with a screenshot of me saying, "In my mailbox was this."
Like, it just needs to be like
my mailbox was this.
You see it like be pointing like to the side, like
yes.
And so like someone can like just hold whatever up to it.
That Cheesemeister said you can have a shirt that says "You down with RGB?" and on the back end you could say, "Yeah, you know me." That I added that last part, but we could do that.
I wonder how this, like, I feel like this tube thing is not something I've seen on GBA before. Like, I wonder how it was done. Like, it's pretty cool. I like this mini game. Even though it's like...
The Burbs is definitely a good movie, too. And that is a movie that I saw that in the theater, and I was too young to really, like, even understand.
What movie?
The Burbs.
I don't know anything about it.
I just feel like I didn't get it. Warren Hokie says that there should be a T-shirt with you on it saying "Just like I like them."
It's just got like a big sharp edged like square on it.
Just like I like them.
Yeah, it's just 1 pixel. I think it's so funny how like lighthearted the music in these levels is, because it's just like it's pretty.
There's a big saw chasing you.
I know, right? It's like it's kind of intense music in the original version. It's like
well, it's scary.
Yeah, it's like not like a super high tempo, but it's like, I don't know. It's just like it's a unique tune. It's just like kind of like,
I mean, that's a serious saw blade.
Yeah, right. Which is,
Who do you think is using it?
I mean, it's got to be a Kremlin, right? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Uh-oh.
Had a sync drop there.
I thought maybe your GFCI outlet popped.
No, it was probably just like, it was probably just something to do, because this is going through like an HDMI switcher and a splitter.
Right. The splitter is just to make it so it normalizes
the audio in part. I mean, because I'm also running like the PS3 and the PS TV through it, so that they strip the HDCP.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also running it through that, so I can use the digital audio. Which, I mean, I don't have to, but since it worked for that,
right,
I figured why not do it that way. But that's the first time I've had an issue. I was having an issue actually with I'm invincible. I was having an issue with another switcher, HDMI switcher, that I really don't like. And so I got another one that seems a lot better. That's the first time I ran into an issue. But you were saying that for you, like the PS3 screws up with the.
Yeah, it seems they have a constant signal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I don't have mine on like a switch or anything, like a power switch. You said you put yours on a rocker switch. Right?
Well, I got a little rocker that goes in the back of the system. It's just like it has like the figure 8 style polarity, and it's just like it just plugs into the back of the system, so I just like can hit that.
Okay.
It's tiny. It just is a little extension outside the port in the back.
Yeah. Well, now that I know that you can get something like that, like that's not that bad.
Right.
I could see myself getting something like that just to ensure that an issue like that doesn't happen. But I don't know if that could have been the reason why, because the PS3 is going into this as well.
We got a $5 donation from Hal 15,900 or Hal 15900. Thank you. It says, thanks for the content. Question, does the NES charge memory batteries while playing, or can I replace it with double A's? I see like Warren Hockey is ahead of me there. It does not charge the battery, but it uses CR type. I think are CR 2032 batteries.
Right.
Or those are just like the coin, but they're like that same size.
Yeah.
I'd have to like look at the exact numbers. If you check out our save file preservation episode, that has everything you'd need to know about switching out the batteries on NES games.
Yeah,
they're coin cell size battery.
I mean, it's just about one of the most basic soldering things you can do. You learn to do it quite quickly.
Yeah.
But it doesn't charge the batteries, but it does like, keep the save alive while your system is running.
Right. Yes. It keeps it current to it.
Right. It is theoretically possible to swap a battery without losing your save, but it's definitely kind of a more advanced thing. Some games do have a capacitor that buys you like maybe a few minutes to swap a battery without losing your save. What's funny is I actually thought that my Crystallis battery had been dead for years. Because like it'd been so long since I beat the game that I forgot how to use the save and load system. So
Oh yeah,
like,
'cause it's weird because you don't actually do it from the menu. You have to start a game, don't you?
right, something like that. Like, I just say, if you say continue on the title screen, it just loads like the last game that was played. And for me, that was just like a game like where you walk out of the cave at the very beginning of the game. And so since every time I
Right.
would say continue,
You thought it was just starting a new game.
I thought it was starting a new game, and I was just like, oh, well, my battery's dead. And I thought for years it was. And then what was funny was, after you replace the battery, I was like, oh no, it's not working. Like, I don't know why. Like, because I thought I wasn't really sure how the save and load system worked, and I was like, no, it still doesn't seem to be working. And then like I figured it out and saw that like my old save from when I beat the game was there, and a save that a friend had done years ago where he played, a little bit into the game. Like all that was still there after like that was one of the reasons I gave you that cartridge to replace the battery, because I was like, oh, it's okay because it's already dead, so there's no save on here to save. And it turned out that not only was there something to save, but it wasn't
the whole time.
like, if I had known that, like, I would have been reluctant for you to swap it. Although I guess you had already backed up everything, but you probably didn't back up Crystallis because I probably told you it was dead.
Well, not I don't think. No, I probably didn't restore it, but I feel like you may have. I can check.
I mean, back it up. I mean, not restore it. But if you backed it up, I know you didn't restore it because it was never lost during the battery swap process.
Right. I mean, I can look in the save file store. Let's see. I have one. I have one for me, but not for. How hard is it to save backups from the PS1, PS2, and GameCube? I know that the memory card episode is not up yet. It needs to happen super soon. For GameCube, the easiest way to do it is to use the GC memory card manager homebrew application. If you have any way to run homebrew, using the the memory card loader thing.
Can you do that with a Wii as well?
Yeah, it works with the Wii as well. That is definitely the easiest way to do it. For PS1, I mean, even if you can get like a PS1 Dex drive, there's a application that uses it.
And you can get a
like a new or like a
USB
application.
You can get like a USB connector for it.
Yeah, it's like a serial cable to USB adapter.
I found that cable when I was cleaning up a few weeks ago. Like, it was just like laying on my dining table for months amongst a bunch of other stuff. And I was just like, I was looking at it and I was just like, literally cannot think what on earth I bought this for.
What is it? It's a serial to USB?
Yeah. And I finally...
You should connect your Extron to your computer with it. That's what I've been using mine for now. I have the Extron Matrix program.
It's too
and
far.
You can just
it's too far away.
You can use a USB extension.
Yeah, but I've ran all the USB extensions I can.
Oh,
like
I mean,
there's
like it a lot. I use it for that, and it's super convenient.
There's no way to run another at this point.
Yeah, you can use PS2 to copy saves to a USB stick. I mean, also there's the PS3 memory card manager.
The PS3 memory card manager is definitely
it
the
works
easiest.
really well. I mean, I think for me in my situation, I think using the PS3 memory card or PS3 adapter is probably the easiest way to do it.
Can you do anything with that on a PC?
From what?
Can you do anything with that on a PC?
Not as far as I know right now, but it would be cool if there was something like that. Maybe someone would make something. It is. It's just it's kind of hard to find.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people are like surprised that even exists, and like I was like, it's always surprised me that people are surprised because it was there in the store when, I mean, maybe it wasn't around that long because I got my PS3 in 2008. It was there, and I went back to Best Buy and bought it along with a few other accessories like the very next day.
Yeah, it's handy to have for sure. We had a $2 donation from Alex S.
Thank you.
He says, buying an OSSC. Should I wait for the Pro? Great content. I mean, I have no idea how far the Pro is.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
How far off it is.
It's possible.
But
it
could be a year.
Away.
I mean, if you're totally happy right now and you can wait like a year, I would.
Right. But like, you also have to keep in mind, we don't know how much it's going to cost. It could potentially be very expensive.
Yeah.
Like I believe there will be a market for the original OSSC even after the new one is out.
Did they say if the OSSC, the old one is going to be known as the OSSC Classic?
I don't know.
It better be.
But yeah, I mean, just keep in mind, we don't know how expensive it'll be. Like, if you're just like, oh, I'll buy it no matter what it is. Okay, sure, wait, I guess. But I think, I mean, we don't know much about like how some of its new features will work, but there was a feature on the initial announcement that made it sound like it might have the capability to do like a more traditional deinterlace. But again, we don't know what that's really going to look like. So, I mean, you could be holding out for that and maybe it'll end up being like, oh, that's not quite what I hoped it would be,
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
Yeah, and not only that, but as Kitty Ears says above, it says that hardware manufacturing is at a slowdown right now.
Yeah.
Who knows how this is going to affect prices?
Yeah. I mean, I feel
this goes on for months and months and months. I mean, which is entirely possible. I mean,
I'm kind of starting to doubt that the PS5 and Xbox Series X are coming out this year at this point.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be in their best interest to push it off.
I mean, I've been saying for a while that like they should launch in the spring rather than, because like it doesn't make any sense to me that like I feel it was such a good move for Nintendo to launch the Switch in March, because the whole like release your new console in November thing makes no sense to me, because at launch there's always going to be limited inventory available. And who's going to buy it? The people who are going to buy it no matter when in the year you release it. So the people who were only going to get it as like a Christmas present, like they aren't going to be able to get it because the hardcore already bought it. So like, why not let the hardcore buy it, get your positive word of mouth building over the course of the year, and then people, get it for Christmas. Because it just makes no sense. Because, like, there's just not going to be as many people able to get their hands on it for Christmas as you would want. I think, Like, so I think launching earlier in the year is a smarter move anyway. So I think Sony is probably a little desperate, though, because, I mean, you think about, like, the last E3 they were at, like, they showed off, what was it? Death Stranding, Last of Us 2, and Ghost of Tsushima. And, like, by the next E3, which they did not attend, none of those games were even out. And Sony has, like, been pretty thin on first-party content. I mean, to be fair, Microsoft has too, because they blew up all their first-party studios, and they've spent like the last couple of years kind of ensuring that they have that first-party infrastructure again going into the next generation. But it's just, oh, what's this? This is different. So yeah, it's just like Sony's first party stuff has really not been very prolific at all the past couple of years compared to what it used to be, I feel. Especially during like the PS3 generation, when I feel like Sony was doing really good with first party.
For love of the game is just talking about the color scheme on this level.
It is kind of bad, isn't it?
He's like that is an awful color scheme.
It is kind of bad. I mean, I can with the consolizer here, I can turn on the GBA shader to make it a little more muted. Let's play with the GBA shader for a while. Still not great, but it's at least a little less garish.
Yeah. That's true. There is that rumor going around saying that Sony is going to buy Metal Gear, Silent Hill, and Castlevania from Konami.
Really?
Konami doing that is what Reverse the Blood says.
That would be interesting, but like I kind of don't want any more Metal Gear games. Like, even Kojima did kind of not that good of a job with Metal Gear Solid 5, and I feel like
I think if who knows what kind of
like I want Kojima to continue doing like original stuff.
I mean, I could see
like I like Metal Gear Solid 4 like wrapped up the story, and like I'm okay with Metal Gear being done. And I don't want anyone but Kojima to do it, but I want Kojima to do something different again. Like, I mean, I know Death Stranding wasn't everyone's cup of tea, and all the, we liked it for the most part, but I think I would just like to see Kojima do some different stuff, like same thing with Sakurai. Like I feel like he's kind of done his best take on Smash Brothers that he can at this point. I feel it's okay to let someone else do it. I kind of suspect he won't because he's a workaholic, but like Kid Icarus Uprising was so good. It was like so nice to see him do something that wasn't Smash for the first time in a long time. And I just want to see him make more like games like Kid Icarus Uprising, because I feel his style works so well in games that aren't fighting games. And I want to see that kind of stuff, And same with Kojima, like Metal Gear is done for me. Like, I was excited for Metal Gear Solid 5. I liked Peace Walker, but like the story is done. Like, unless you're going to give me like a World War II story with the boss, like what more is there to do at this point?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would be a part 5 that pretends like that Phantom Pain didn't exist.
That would be nice.
I mean, I love the gameplay in Phantom Pain. I thought it was so much fun to play.
But it was too long. Like
there's just too many missions in between story. I mean,
yeah, like it was so long where like nothing happened, and it was like,
and it would have been fine if you could do all these missions without, if you could just like move the story forward without having to do a lot of other missions.
Dang it. Yeah, but like the thing is, like the story was moving, but even then, like the story just wasn't that good. Like I love Metal Gear for what it is, and I am okay with it being done.
Blade Brown earlier wanted everyone in chat to know that he's violating a chicken. But he wrote it in Spanish.
Okay.
He felt it was very important that I interact with his comments.
Man, that was a really dramatic sound effect when that bird hit that bee.
Yeah. Silver says, I'd rather have a Snatcher scale game every 1 to 2 years than a AAA game every 4 to 5 years. And I agree with that.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just my opinion. I'd rather see Kojima do some fresh stuff for a while.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's not something that's like some sprawling story.
Yeah.
I saw some comments about Boktai earlier. Like that would have been cool.
But he didn't direct that. He just produced those games in Zone of the Enders. Oh, that laugh sound effect is new. The hook in this level is that there's a cursor that's taking a shot at you throughout the whole level. But there's this like the voice that's playing when it gets ready to shoot. It's like this like very like generic like villain Dracula laugh or whatever. It definitely is not on the Super Nintendo.
Warren Hokie is said, can I just say that watching this stream has been the only time I've calmed down from Corona worrying all day. Seriously, thank you, Coury and Try. Well, I mean, I'm glad that it can help a little bit. I mean, it is super stressful. It's super stressful, and I'm not sure if you have any kids or anything, but that's like the weirdest part about all of it, and especially like kids that can't quite understand what's going on. And I told my kids, they're 5 and 7, and I said, and I guess like afterwards, my wife was like, I don't know if that was such a good idea to really say that, but I was like, I was just being honest with them. I said, this is uncharted territory for our lifetime, and like I said, and your grandparents. Like, we've never really experienced anything like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
And I think she was like, I don't know if he just, I mean,
just tell them it,
you don't want them to get scared that, like, even we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, just say, hey, I mean, they understand how sickness works, I guess. So just, there's, a lot of people are getting sick right now. So, we just have to stay inside
Yeah.
or at home.
And, well, yeah, I mean, that's what it's like, I have to stay at home. And, we say, we're going to like go on walks and stuff. And we say, if we see people at the park, you got to keep your distance. And just to make sure.
Yeah, don't play on the equipment at the park.
Oh, yeah, we can plan it, but just got to make sure to wash your hands and everything in your home.
But
I mean, it's
definitely a crazy thing. Like I mean, how things are, kind of shutting down.
Yeah, well, basically like everything is shutting down. I was talking to Sean Quinn earlier about, if we needed to stock up on anything. And I was like, I feel very lucky in that we didn't really need to go to the grocery store to get much stuff because we had already stocked up on a lot of stuff after moving to the new house. So we were already pretty good. But he sent me a photo that he took of at his supermarket, and it was just like there's nothing on the shelves.
Mine was not that bad. But I went to like kind of a grocery store that's just kind of been new within the past like less than a year. And it's like kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of weird because they closed another location that was like right in the middle of town. And then this one is just like in the middle of nowhere, this brand new one. They closed the other one. It was very strange. I went there Friday early afternoon, and it was not that bad. There was plenty of water. The water was gone like in the normal location, but like there was like in the back like aisles, they had like a ton of water. Like it was not very unusual. But Kentucky was pretty early in like closing schools, right?
No, I mean it was.
I mean compared to
last Friday. I'm surprised that there are still some that have not closed yet or are closing like midweek this week.
So yeah, I don't know, but it was pretty normal at my grocery store, and I didn't have to wait in a long line at all.
Yeah, I mean I went on Friday, and it just to get some basic necessities, but I mean compared to the amount of stuff that I had to get, it was just like stuff that we needed anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But there's people that just had so much stuff. And Sean Quinn was saying it was a Wegmans. Wegmans is awesome. That's Retrotech. That's pretty surprising that your kids' school isn't closed yet. I mean, it'll happen probably either tomorrow or the next day. I've heard some of them like closing down as late as Wednesday being the last day. Oh, they're on spring break this week. See, what is weird about my kids is that they close it until the 27th, and then the 27th is the start of spring break. So really, they're off for 3 weeks, not 2 weeks. Yeah, I got plenty of soup. Got some cup of noodles also, just to have just in case. But like I said, we were thankfully pretty stocked up on stuff anyways.
You're probably gonna have to go to the grocery store at some point before.
Well, I mean, we can eat out of the pantry for a long time, My wife is very, very good at just seeing what we have and making it work. Very good at just kind of making stuff out of nothing.
Yeah, you're lucky in that regard for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how she does it. But the toilet paper aspects has been hilarious. I don't even understand it. I don't get it.
Well, I was lucky to have a lot of toilet paper, but I joined the bidet revolution earlier this year, so I've been using it at a much reduced rate anyway. So
Yeah. K-Baz is saying it's due to diarrhea. And you know what? Honestly, I think a lot of that has to do with the food that a lot of people eat. I mean, obviously it has to do with like the food that a lot of people eat and the preservatives and a lot of stuff. Just like diarrhea is just like a normal thing.
I don't know about the average person, but I have a feeling I will overall be eating better than I normally do during all this. I don't know if that's a sad thing to admit or not.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I realize it's not. It is a respiratory disease. It doesn't have anything to do with diarrhea or anything. I'm just talking about just like in general, like I don't know. It's I don't know. I think it's just like people's poor diets. Yeah, standard American diet.
Interesting. It seems like you throw your snowball just where he is, but I'm pretty sure the original version you like select the top row or bottom row. It's kind of funny, like he goes, "Oh!" when you hit him. I like the sound effects on Super Nintendo better because, like, after he finishes shooting the cannon, it kind of makes this. It was just kind of a fun laugh. And when you hit him, it went,
So Bagashmit is saying, is anyone besides boomers afraid to die from it? I've obviously that's like the at-risk group, but I've heard that they've started to figure out some of like the long-term, or not long-term, but perhaps long-term respiratory issues that even young people could have, like with like severely reduced lung capacity. Just permanently, even in young people, they have it. They get it. Sean Quinn was saying latecomers will be eating better because the only kind of pasta on store shelves was chickpea and lentil pasta. And then he says, if you're a business and your product won't even be purchased in the middle by people in the middle of a global pandemic, you have to think about the viability of the product you're selling.
I mean, to be fair, like, you know, fresh produce and stuff is probably not the hot thing right now, even though it normally would sell decently, just because, like, you can't keep it in the freezer, you know?
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, it's like just as bad as the flu. I think like a good way to think about that, that I read is So if it's as bad as the flu, and the flu kills as many people as it kills, think about the fact that it kills as many people as it currently kills, without with treatment that exists today. So now imagine how many people the flu would kill if there was no treatment, which is what this has the possibility to do.
But I mean, basically, I think the other side of it too is it seems like it is, from as much as I understand, it seems extremely easy to transmit compared to
Oh yeah, I
other
heard.
diseases. And I guess, there is a pretty sharp, risk to older people. Like I would say, even compared to, the flu. So, I mean, it's something we can't do a lot about right now. So, I guess we'll just chalk this up as a lost year and hope we can deal with it in the future if it is going to be an ongoing thing.
Retrotech, that's exactly it. I mean, if the healthcare system is overwhelmed and there's no beds or treatment at a hospital, what happens when somebody is in a car accident or somebody
Right.
has a heart attack? Or
Right.
that's
Like, I mean, you got to wonder, like, all the people with cancer, like, they, during this period of time, are probably not going to be getting anywhere near as good a treatment as they normally would. I mean, I don't know for sure, but,
See, Mitch B says that it has a 3% mortality rate. If I gave you a bag of 100 Skittles, but 3 could kill you, I bet you'd avoid all of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just gonna really, focus on working on the channel. I wonder if they're gonna push back tax day. Seems like, I mean, it's a month from now.
Seems like a thing to do.
Yeah.
But like, one thing I've been thinking about just in terms of like our channel, like I feel like depending on how long this lasts, like advertisers are going to have less incentive to spend money on ads.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
So,
gonna affect everything. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, people
I've gotten really turned around here.
will be watching a lot more YouTube just in general.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just like I said at the very beginning of the stream, like having the whole family home here and everyone's gonna be working on their stuff. I feel like it's gonna keep me on task better than when it's just me trying to manage it during the day. So who knows? Maybe like our video output will go way up.
It's possible.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. I have gotten so turned around in here. I've definitely played the third game fewer times than the other two.
Mm-hmm.
But still a good number of times. I rented it back when it came out. I didn't get it because, like, you know, my big Christmas. Okay, now I see why I was screwed up, I think. Okay, we're going down. For some reason I thought we were going up. Okay. My big, you know, video game Christmas thing in 96 was the N64. So, so I just rented this, like, you know, before Christmas. I probably read it. I think I read it, like, basically as soon as it was available. But, like, I actually 100% completed it on my rental. So, you know, it was just kind of like, oh, well, I mean, it was really good, but, like, I've already 100% completed it. Like, you know, maybe I should spend money on another game, you know? But then, like, several years later, when I got, like, back into the NES, I decided, you know what, for Christmas, instead of, like, asking for, like, a new N64 game, I'm going to ask for, like, some, you know, I could ask for, like, one N64 game. But I could ask for, like, 5 or 6 NES and Super Nintendo games, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're so much cheaper at Funko Land. So that was when I asked for Donkey Kong Country 3. So I got whatever year that was, you know, probably like, that's probably like 2000 or something like that, I would guess, give or take a year. And I got Donkey Kong Country 3, Final Fantasy 4, Mega Man 3. I asked for Bionic Commando, but they didn't have it, so I got I got Commando instead,
Oh, well,
which was a disappointment.
it's not as good.
Yeah, I actually did not hold
Close.
on. I did not hold on to it. I also got Star Tropics, but the cartridge I had some gunk on it that I could not clean off. So I took it back and got another copy. That was a game that I did not actually finish for a pretty long time.
Is it that long? I mean, I should play.
I mean, I don't love it. I love the idea of it. Like, I really like its atmosphere and everything. Like, and I like how its interface has like a lot of sort of Zelda stuff going on. That's cool. But like once you get past like the second or third dungeon, like, it is not that fun anymore. The thing that kind of annoys me about it is it sort of positions itself as a puzzle game, but like there's not really a puzzle to it. Like, so much of it is jumping around on these tiles and like until
You
you
can go diagonals, right?
I can't remember for sure if you can do diagonals. Like, so much of it is jumping around on tiles, and it's like, oh, it's a puzzle game, but except it's kind of not, because you're just jumping on random tiles until you find the one tile that like does something, and like it's all trial and error. Like, you're going to, and I don't mind trial and error stuff in games. But that kind of trial and error kind of bothers me because so much of it is like, just like, oh, you might land on a tile that ends up doing something that kills you. And but you have no choice but to just test every tile basically to find your way forward.
Red Wolfie says, I played Silent Hill for 11 hours with no save card because Blockbuster didn't tell you needed one. I guess you probably rented a system then.
Or maybe he only played games up to that point that that didn't need saving. I'm trying to think of what on the PS1 might be like that. I'm sure there's some.
I know the Gunner's Heaven does not have.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's more games on Saturn like that than the PlayStation.
Oh yeah, for sure. How close are you to the end of this?
This is the second to last world. I mean, I should finish it. You know, I could have gone through it a lot faster, but like, you know, if I saw a bonus area, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I could probably do, if I wanted to revisit this and do, just for the fun of it, do the GBA versions of Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2. Like, unless there's like some differences that really throw me off. Like, this one has a lot more differences than I thought. Like, I kind of wanted to try out Swanky's mini games just because it was like so different. Oops. Those, and I know those games a lot better, so I could get through them. I bet I could do 1 and 2 in one stream and not go much past midnight. I wonder how much like banana positioning had to be changed in this because of like
the aspect ratio, or
because of the smaller, the overall less resolution. Because like a lot of times bananas like might be kind of at the far edge of the screen because like they're like, oh, they want like you see it and you're like, oh, there might be a secret over there, you know?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's fast.
Potbelly Punch is asking, what do you guys think about the Donkey Kong Land Game Boy ports and versions? I have not played any of them. Can't tell you.
Wait, did I get the coin or not? Like I got the coin, then like slid off.
Yeah. Did you die?
Well, in a bonus game, you don't lose a life or any progress. Donkey Kong Land, I mean, those aren't really, I kind of consider those separate games, especially the first. The later ones are kind of like ports of the Super Nintendo games. The Donkey Kong Land 3 again is like kind of an interesting one though, because of it's another interesting one because the Japanese version is actually a Game Boy. It's a Game Boy Color game. I'm pretty sure it's exclusive. Whereas the version here, doesn't have the one here doesn't have color support at all. It has Super Game Boy support, but not Game Boy Color support. So that's very interesting. I wonder if this is going to get like actually very dark in this level because it's super bright.
Yeah. One of the things I always thought about this, and I felt like they were maybe running out of ideas. There's a lot of levels like this where you just become the animal friend.
Well, what I definitely I definitely prefer riding the animal aesthetically as opposed to, I mean, Donkey Kong Country 2 does that a lot as well. Like, I guess the difference between becoming the animal and riding the animal is if you become the animal, they can make levels where like you have to be the animal. So they can build the level, like design it knowing that you like won't lose it. Whereas when you ride the animal, you're kind of like you know, it's kind of like a special thing, and you may run into like a area that like, oh, I can access it because I'm riding the animal, but it's like a secret area that I can't go to if I lose it. But it's riding the animal is more conceptually fun, I guess, but I think they can maybe build better levels by making you become the animal. But there is very, very little riding the animal in this one. Very, very little. Like, yeah, DKC.
Very little.
Yeah. DKC, I mean, maybe only like once or twice. Like, it's very few times, really. It's not much. I don't know if I would say they were running out of ideas necessarily. Because they, you know, one of the things that I think some people might consider a mark against Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3, especially people who maybe prefer the first one. I mean, the first one did this to a small extent, but they really went all in with 2 and 3, where each level kind of like really has a concept, and there's something about that level that no other level has. So I think some people might consider that kind of gimmicky. You know, it's got gimmick. But I don't think there's anything wrong with gimmicks if it, you know, if it leads to fun and distinct and memorable levels, you know?
Yeah.
The levels are very memorable. You know, whenever I like, you know, even in this game which I don't remember as well as 1 and 2, I'm still like, oh yeah, I remember, you know, that's the level with, you know, where you have to climb the rope and it, you know, the fuse is coming up behind you, you know. I mean, there's just sort of a little something different about every level. And I like that. The first one is kind of like that, but not as overtly.
Very, very little riding levels.
Yeah, very, very little. But the second game doesn't have like a whole super ton either, I guess.
Yeah.
I would guess the second game probably close to half and half. Yeah, this game, like, they almost may as well have not even made riding a feature because it's very few.
Yeah. JJ McCullough says you have to figure out by the time this game came out, people were pretty over the just hop and bop side scroll. I mean, and it's true. I think this is kind of the tail end of the mascot style platform.
Well,
era.
I mean, that was still popular. 3D, I mean, mascot 3D platformers
Or 2D.
were popular, but for 2D, absolutely.
But I feel like 3D mascot platformers didn't like have a resurgence until the PS2.
Well, I don't really know what you mean because they only had one generation before that. I feel like PS2 is kind of when they died off because there are, I mean, I'm not saying there aren't great ones, but like, I think that's when people started losing interest. Like, that was where, like, games like, you know, some of the ones that I've never even played, like, I don't even know if they're really platformers, strictly speaking, because I haven't played them, but like Ty the Tasmanian Tiger and Vex or whatever, like, you know, those games probably would have found much more of an audience, you know.
A generation earlier, I feel. I feel like that was kind of, because then the next generation, that was basically not a thing at all. So yeah. I would say that is when it died. But I mean, I think
I think in the PS1 and 64, 3D platforming had a lot of good life. But yeah, people were, much more excited about 3D at this point.
Yeah.
But like I always say, like the Donkey Kong Country games are, I mean, here, I'm not playing exactly a hop and bop level here, but, I feel they're almost the pinnacle of just like run and jump platforming, because they're just so like, they're so pure in how they approach it. Like, they're even more simple in their core mechanics than like Mario. I think I've said before, like, I think like what big Sonic fans feel when they play Sonic is what I feel when I play Donkey Kong Country. Because Donkey Kong Country is just like, it does have that, that speed and momentum if you want to play it. If you want to play it that way, you don't have to. And it's also, kind of got, some side paths that you can go down. I mean, Sonic is very good at designing these levels that kind of like funnel you through some different paths, but you always get to the end. And, there's maybe less different paths, but there still is that spirit of exploration in these games. But, I guess Donkey Kong Country kind of just moves at a pace that I prefer compared to Sonic. It's kind of crazy how simple it is to get the DK token in so many levels. But I remember the Star Fox 64 VHS tape. It had like a sort of a sizzle reel at the end, showing a bunch of N64 games that were coming up. The Sega guy, the Sony guy are talking, going, boy, are we in big trouble. But like one of the games on there was Mischief Makers, which obviously was a game that wasn't like super setting the world on fire or nothing. But I remember, I didn't get it until many years later, but I did rent it, and a friend rented it. And, we played a good bit of it, and we enjoyed it. But I remember just seeing that on that sizzle reel was like so exciting to me, because it was like, whoa, 2D games on N64. Like I want to see more of that. Oh, hey, here's a riding level. Although when you're being carried by squawks, you have to, like, you can't get off of squawks. You have, like, it's almost functionally the same as becoming squawks, because you have to use them.
We got a $2 donation from Mitch B. He asked, what is your favorite game nobody cares about? Man, that's a tough one.
I mean, that's actually
that nobody cares about.
That's something that I've kind of thought about a little bit lately, because
Rambo First Blood Part 2 on the Master System. One for me might be Wario's Woods,
Because like I feel like no one really cares about that game, and Nintendo has never republished the Super Nintendo version, which is so much better than the NES version. I mean, the NES version is still a good game, but the Super Nintendo version is so much better. It has a versus computer mode that does not exist on NES. And I consider it my favorite puzzle game of all time. Like, it's just, I really enjoy that you're like an actual character moving about the field.
Yeah.
And it's a game that I've never heard basically anyone but myself like speak passionately of. But I love that game. I'm sure I could.
Silver is mentioning the Super Star Wars, just the first Super Star Wars on the SNES, and I would agree with that. I mean, he says it's much better than its sequels, and technically it's impressive for the time. It is definitely better than Empire and Return of the
Jedi. I never could get into any of those games as much as I wanted to, but you know, I've kind of been thinking about that lately because, I mean, not to say that I necessarily have like more examples, but I've kind of been in a GameCube mood lately for some reason. You know, I think it was mostly because I got that updated Kirby, and or I got my Kirby updated, I should say. And like I finally beat 1080 Avalanche, and I was like, you know, I just kind of feel like playing another GameCube game. And I kind of thought about Lost Kingdoms, like, you know, something that I needed to beat off my backlog, you know. But then this level actually has a lot of animal riding. Like, he's got like many different animals. Then I was like, you know what? It just kind of struck me. I was like, I want to play Recore on the Xbox One. And that, you know, again, that's a game no one really seems to care much about. But like from the very little I had played, because I bought like several games that at least had HDR capabilities before doing the 4K episode.
Right.
And, you know, that does not have particularly good HDR, but it does have HDR. So it was just one more game I could show without repeating HDR games so much. You know, it was, you know, it's an inexpensive game that, you know, I was able to get at Best Buy. And from the bit I played of it, like it's made by a lot of the key people. In fact, I believe directed actually by the director of Metroid Prime. So a lot of people that left Retro Studios to make Armature Studios or whatever it's called, Armature Games, I forget. And there's like definitely a lot of Metroid Prime DNA in it for sure.
Right.
And like it's nowhere near as good as Metroid Prime, and it's clearly like a very mid-range tier, like you know, production. But I just think it's interesting because I feel like it's a level of game that we don't see very often anymore. You know, kind of mid-budget, but like a game that takes place in a, you know, fully realized 3D world. It's not very technically impressive, but like it's a game that was very common on, you know, PS2, Xbox, GameCube. And like, I feel like no one cares about that game, and it's good. It's not amazing, but it's good. But I feel like if it had been released on the PS2 or the GameCube or the Xbox, it would be this like really beloved classic. Or it would be like, you know, one of those like, oh, this is a good one. You know, it's like, you know, $40, $50, $60 like GameCube, PS2 or Xbox game. It's like, oh yeah, it's one of the hidden gems, you know? But like, yeah. But it's like not what people want on Xbox One. So it's like no one really cares about it. And like I feel like it's the kind of game that like 20 years ago would have been what I like to call a good rental, you know?
A what?
A good rental.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, like there's a certain kind of game where it's like, it's just okay. But since you only spent $5 on it and only have 3 days with it, it's like, that'd be for a darn good weekend, you know?
You finish it? Are you close to the end?
I think I'm close to the end. There's not that much required levels. Like there's like a bunch of like sort of side dungeons that you can do on the map.
Yeah.
And I've done like 1 or 2. I don't know if like it might be difficult if I don't do a whole lot more, but I think I'm pretty close. Whoa, what?
Got scissors.
This is not this is not the boss on Super Nintendo. I wonder if like the original boss, they just couldn't make it work on the GBA resolution.
So they had this thing, whatever the thing is.
Whatever it is. Yeah, this looks more like a Zelda boss or something. Or it's got, you know, it's got like the ball arm thing going on. You know, like a Genesis game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a giant urchin on Super Nintendo. It's kind of crazy to me that like this game has significantly changed. I mean, it's worth playing just to have a different take on a game that you're familiar with.
The original boss is in the world they added for the GBA version.
Huh?
The original boss is in the world that they added for the GBA version.
Oh, okay. I forgot that this has an our world. So this has the Lost World and an all new world. I think I knew that, but that there was another world, but forgot it.
I mean, clearly this is the one that they spent the most time on.
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't played the others. I think there's like at least a new level or something in the first game, or maybe I'm confusing it with the Game Boy Color version. I can't quite remember, to be honest. You know what I think is funny is in Japan, Kiddy Kong is Dinky Kong. I guess they wanted to stick with the DK.
Right.
Well, that kind of makes sense, really. Oh, I didn't know the bomb was already there.
They look like little cutman blades. Super J-Man says, what are the differences between the SNES version and this version. Right?
I mean,
A
all
lot.
of the mini games are different. Like all of like the the Kong families, like houses or whatever you want to call it, they are all different, very different. This boss is different. The soundtrack is completely different. I guess there's another world, people were saying.
Oh, there was a $2 donation 10 minutes ago I missed for Love of the Game. I put it in my mind to come back to it, and I totally forgot. Thank you. He says, have you played Goof Troop on the SNES? I have it, but I have not played it.
Yeah, I've tested it on SD2 SNES, and
if we ever get a chance to do a couch, next time we can do a couch co-op, we should play that.
Oh yeah. I want to get it. I mean, it's a game that I feel is at risk of, maybe going up in price, because I feel like I've been hearing people speak well of it. But it's like, I don't know, like a $15 to $20 game maybe. I've come close to buying it a few times, but just have not done so yet.
For Love of the Game, he thinks that ActRaiser 1 and Goof Troop are games vulnerable to price jumps.
ActRaiser 1 and really also ActRaiser 2. I mean, even though I know ActRaiser 2 is not very popular, popularity does not necessarily have anything to do with price. And oh. Oh, come on. I'm surprised ActRaiser 2 is still like in the mid-20s.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that it won't go up because it's just going to be too hard for most people.
Yeah, but again, like, quality of a game does not always have that much to do with, its price on the retro market.
Yeah.
I wonder what's another game I love that no one cares about. I'm sure if I could look at my backloggery right now, I could come up with something.
Yeah.
I mean, Kiwi Craze is maybe one. Although that's more like no one cares in America. Like New Zealand Story, I think is relatively popular in like PAL regions. Like it was ported to like every.
Soul Blazer recently.
Huh?
You were just talking about Soul Blazer.
Yeah. Because I tried it for the first time on the SD2 SNES, and I know it's like always lumped in as like a trilogy with like Illusion of Gaia and Terranigma, which I'll admit I haven't played that much of either of those, but it immediately made me think a lot more of ActRaiser than either of those. Just in terms of like, oh, I like found an old lady and then it caused like a house to appear. It just kind of feels like it's got this world building thing going on. Yeah, this boss is giving me a hard time.
Show says games are more manipulated by YouTubers talking about it now more than anything else, and that's probably true.
Yeah, I've always kind of been skeptical of that.
You should put the names of the titles of the games and on screen in your episodes. I wonder if that would like cause like prices of games to go up if we ever did that.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
I've always been skeptical though.
Is because some games are only shown for like 4 seconds or something like that, and I don't want to take up the screen
And
doing that.
yeah, I feel like it distracts from the point a lot of the time.
And not only that, but like having to do that for every episode.
Oh, it would like people probably think, oh, just do that. Here's a good suggestion. Yeah, like you say, I would want to die at that part of the process. Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Someone
it would be so miserable.
Recommended a while ago. Like, I wonder if we could do it like through a subtitle track, which could be cool. But I'm not sure if they would let us put a subtitle track on there that is not, like that's not a true
language.
Language, yeah. But it would be cool if that was possible. It would be cool. I mean, I would love to do stuff like that. I don't know, like I'm not sure if you ever. I mean, you probably never watched VH1 or MTV when you were young, but I always loved the pop-up video show, which is just like it plays a music video, but like all kinds of like random facts or like making of trivia and stuff like pops up throughout. I would love to do something like that. Like that would be pretty cool. Like when we do like a Blu-ray, doing something like maybe do a track that is like a pop-up video type thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, man, like I think people just have no idea how much work putting all of those I should save my game. I've only got what, 30 more lives. 40 more lives, I think. 40 more lives. Might run out.
You have 40 lives?
Yeah. Oh, come on.
Well, they can describe every song in the subtitles, but that's not its own track. It's just like that information is hidden inside of a English subtitle track.
But yeah, that would just be so miserable. Like compared to
maybe when we do a Blu-ray, maybe we can do it as that. We can like put that as a bullet point on the back of the case to sell more. It's like
find out what these games are.
With complete episode game listing.
Oh my gosh, though, like that would be so miserable.
Yeah, but when you're only doing like
it would be miserable.
A certain amount of episodes at a time.
It would be miserable. Like I'm not doing it. If you want to do it, feel free.
It's not a fun process. Show says it would be crazy. I think I helped you guys list every game on the Super NT episode. It took me about 4 hours, and it's extremely time consuming and annoying to do it. Which is why the web page hasn't been updated in forever.
Yeah.
You're having a real hard time with
this. I mean,
it doesn't seem like it's all that hard, but I think that you're like getting.
I was really caught off guard by this guy. I mean, it's luring him into the bomb and jumping away from the explosion is not that easy.
I did make a submission form that I posted on our Twitter and stuff, and some people were into it at first, but then I lost interest. I didn't really pursue it that hard though. Is it possible to edit subtitles as you edit the video? I mean, we've done it before. Where I've done it before, where I've made tweaks to the script, or cut things out. During the editing process, but I still upload the a transcript of the script, upload the script, and then it syncs it automatically. Well, I mean, maybe I'll think about getting back to it and doing it. It would be fun. But I wouldn't want you to like spend. I mean, you're talking like spending an entire day every weekend working on that.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't sound like I wouldn't want.
I'd feel guilty.
Yeah, I don't want you to spend your weekend doing that.
I mean, that is just miserable work. There's no two ways about it.
I don't know. You got a whole other world after this?
Yeah, but I mean, this is gonna have the final boss that we all know and love.
Oh, is there no? How many levels are in it?
Oh, I mean, just a standard world, but I don't think it'll take you that long.
Okay.
Oh, there had to have only been one hit left. He hit a bomb like on his own, like that was on the other side of the screen that I couldn't even see. I mean, come on, I can't be like right at the last world and not finish it at this point. Well,
Yeah, we saw that the Retro Tank had firmware updates. I didn't realize it until after, but we recorded the conversation before the first update had come out. But I guess 1.2 just came out. Ricky JD is asking, just out of curiosity, are you guys aware of anything for the GBA consolizer but for the DS? Not yet, but hopefully there will be something. I mean, it would be certainly be.
it's hard to believe that something would never happen, you know?
I'm sure it's inevitable at this point.
Yes, did that do it? That had to have done it. Oh, thank goodness. Is there something special you have to do to unlock the last world?
He's really going crazy with that hammer.
It's been a while. I'm trying to remember.
We got Smuckulations.com in the chat.
Oh.
It's good to have you here.
Does anyone remember if there's something special I have to do to get into... I know that you can do like figure eights around these rocks to get into the Lost World. Did I not rent the right boat to go up that waterfall? Pretty sure I did. Wait, what?
That is such a weird background. It looks very out of place.
The one in Wrinkly's cave?
Yeah.
Why Why can't I get up that waterfall again?
Oh, there's Smoke Monster. This is the Consolizer.
Yep.
Smoke Monster, I saw you're gonna do a stream. Did you end up doing that stream yesterday, where you're gonna like stream in 4K, and also like have a camera feed that was in 4K? He's like gonna do a VR stream.
I cannot figure out why I cannot get back up this waterfall.
You have to get up there?
Well, that's where I came from. Like this is the speedboat. It should just be able to go up the waterfall.
Oh, I see. Okay. You've been streaming in 4K for about a year now, but VR to that freaked out my old GPU. I gotta run to the bathroom.
Okay.
When I get back, you better.
Yeah, I'll better figure this out. Like I came from up there and then I went back down here because I couldn't. Like, I'm drawing a blank if there's anything you have to do to get into the last world because I didn't see the path. Well, obviously this boat doesn't get me up there. It's just a regular speedboat. I mean, that's how I got up there before. This is the GBA version on the GBA Consolizer. I'd love to stream Virtual Boy games, but I don't have a consolized Virtual Boy. I would like one, but seeing as my Virtual Boy is in great condition, I don't want to consolize it. Does anyone understand why I cannot go up this waterfall? I swear I just went up it when I did the levels up there like normal. Like, I'm hitting the B button, which I think is the speed boost. Like, I do not understand what's going on. I mean, I have tried getting a running start. Oh, it worked that time for some reason. Someone in the chat just had to say it to make it work, I guess. Oh, does one of the bears blow up the way? I probably have to do something with the bears, and I forget. Oh, you have to beat the new world? Well, where's the new world? Do I have to open it up somehow? Notice that the colors are in Super Famicom pattern. Can I go up this waterfall too? Is this where the new world is? Oh. Pacifica. Huh. How about that? So these are new levels? I did not know about this. Well, maybe I'm not beating the game tonight.
I've taken 2 bathroom breaks.
Wow. Unprecedented.
Yes.
So
I've been drinking a lot of water.
So I finally found it. The reason I can't go into the last world is because they added a new like non-secret world to this game. That it took me a bit to find it though, but like so this is like the first level in like this completely new world they added. Which is kind of crazy actually. So now, like, I'm kind of like, okay, I don't think I am actually going to finish the game. I don't know. Should I try to do the new world? I mean, I feel like that could take a pretty long time, though.
Just do a couple levels. I'm
fading.
Well, yeah, and I just got to be, especially since everyone's going to be here every day.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't.
Well, at least you don't have to drive anyone to work.
Well, I mean, we had gotten a second car anyway, so that was not something I even do.
Oh, I thought you had been doing that.
Oh, I was doing it for the last year, yeah. But then when
yeah, but for some reason I thought you were still doing that.
No, I mean I still have to pick up the kids most days. But in the morning, my wife takes the kids on her way to work. But it's funny. I mean the second car, we just got like a Ford Focus, and it's like it's nice because it takes very little money to fill up the gas tank, and it's just nice. It's nice having like a small car.
Wasn't the Ford Focus what you rented when we were getting all those PVMs from that medical place?
Is it?
I think
might have.
I think it was a Ford Focus. When Steve was here on our way back from Matt's, we stopped at the Show Mars in Huntersville.
Oh yeah.
Near video game world, and that was actually only the second time I had been to that particular Show Mars location.
Like last time we went here.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was saying, I said last time I went here was when Coury and I, because I had told him the story already about, us going and getting PVMs, and he said, so you've always had a PVM in tow when you've eaten here? It's true.
Yeah, strangely.
That location, at least.
For those in the chat that don't know, Schmupulations.com is the gentleman who did the Japanese to English translation in the M2 Complete Works documentary. Did a fantastic job.
Yeah,
I was so afraid that it was like not going to make any sense until I got his translation back, and that's when I felt like it could actually work.
It just breathed so much life into it.
Yeah. And you should also check out Schmupulations.com. He has some pretty amazing articles on there that he's translated He translates a lot of old Japanese language magazine articles and
Whoa,
stuff.
this is a different background.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's clearly based on sort of the docks stage format, but the background is quite different. Yeah, but this is certainly not a bad version of the game. I mean, I would generally recommend the Super Nintendo version, but this has, you know, some content that I think is worth playing for, you know, fans of the series. I mean, it was the same thing with like Donkey Kong when I played Donkey Kong Land 2 a few years ago. Like I never got that back in the day because it was just like, oh, it's, you know, unlike Donkey Kong Land 1, it's like basically just a reimagining of the Super Nintendo game. But it was like, it was kind of nice, like playing a version of a game that I'm very familiar with. And suddenly it's like, oh, I don't quite know what I'm doing. Like I'm kind of at risk of dying, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm at risk of like getting the game over because like I wasn't familiar. Sunken Spruce.
I didn't realize that there were still videos on. I didn't know that Game Theory was still even around. I've not heard that name in so long.
What? What name?
Game Theory?
I haven't heard in a long time, but I mean, it was extremely popular, so I guess I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I just haven't heard anybody talk about it in a very long. Ben Brody says, "Wake up, Corey! Stop dozing off."
You dozing off?
I'm not really. Like maybe in my mind a little bit.
We'll wrap it up after this level.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to, but I mean, I feel like.
But you do.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of a different level. Sunken Spruce. This might be the point where they were a little out of ideas. It's like, hey, let's take the tree level, but let's put it underwater.
Yeah, it's the tree level, but like it's the tree level, but with water.
Oh.
When I worked at EB Games, we'd always when people asked what a certain game was like, we'd always kind of give them a weird mashup to see if they were really paying attention, like what we were saying.
Uh-huh.
And our favorite one, because like at the time, you know, it was when Electronics Boutique still sold like computer programs, and we were like, it's kind of like, it's like Tax Cut but with dragons.
And then if they said like, what?
And you're like, oh yeah, right, that's great. that was our favorite one, is that it's like Tax Cut but with dragons. Oh, Progress Quest, is that the isn't that, I heard something recently that was, it was kind of like a meta game for doing your taxes or something. And I immediately thought of Tax Cut with dragons. Maybe it is Progress Quest. Is that what it's called? Payday?
So what would you say if Someone was like, "What?"
I don't. We try to roll with it for like a minute. I don't know. I can't think of any times where we were really called on it.
Really?
Yeah.
What might have been a game that you said was like Tax Cut but with dragons?
Oh, it doesn't even matter what it was.
Right. But I mean, I'm just trying to think like what could it have been? Like just some like random like C tier PlayStation game. Like, oh, what's Nightmare Creatures 2 like?
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, that was. I mean, I guess I worked there from like from like I worked there for like from like October of '97 until I went away to college, and that would have been '99. But then I worked for the one in Buffalo from like 2001 to 2003.
Oh, so I didn't know there were like 2 stints of it.
Yeah, I was just like separated by like 1 year of college because I didn't the first year I went away to college, I didn't work the first year.
Mm-hmm. Did you go to college near home?
I mean, it was like an hour and a half in Buffalo.
Oh, okay. But you lived on campus, I guess.
Yeah. And I went before I went to University of Buffalo. I went to community college for years. Honestly, 14-inch PVMs they're definitely not too small.
Yeah, especially if you like play like at a desk. They look pretty sharp.
Yeah. Everyone's talking about candy.
Oh, that's a weird location for the end flag. Okay. Well, I guess 12:30 is a good time to hang it up.
Yeah.
It's interesting. They're doing a, I don't know if it comes across on the stream really, but they're doing like a rapid flickering thing on the inventory items. Can you see that on the stream at all?
Yeah, I can kind of see it.
I wonder why they're doing it that way.
we got Crunch Butt Steak in the chat.
Oh,
a classic name, Crunch Butt Steak.
All right. Well,
really want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight, for all the donations, and I want everybody to be really safe this next week.
Yeah.
Be smart, be safe.
And we'll be back next Sunday. In the meantime, we'll be working on whatever's next.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Later.